Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the WBB Coaches Report, right here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Mike Sullivan, joined as always this week by head coach of the Hofstra women's basketball program, Krista Kilburn-Steveskey. Coach, how's everything doing?
I'm hanging in there, Mike.
Since we last spoke, Coach, you've had a couple of games. Saturday against UC Davis and last night on the road against St. Joseph's. Quickly, let's touch on the UC Davis game first, 19-point victory. How do you think your team handled the Aggies?
I think they really came out strong, and we really attacked them pretty well. I think the Aggies had a tough go around here on the East Coast playing UConn on Thursday. I thought that they really showed very well in a lot of the film leading up to our game. Played a really strong USC team to where they were close to getting that victory. So I was concerned because they shot the three so often and so well. So I was really proud of my team, hold them 2 for 30, and it was a great win. Here at home we had a lot of confidence.
Why do you think your team was able to execute the defensive game plan so effectively, holding them to only 2 3-pointers?
Yeah, we had obviously several days to prepare for them, which is always fun when you got a little extra time. We know that's not reality once the conference starts. They just really obviously made a mental point. I always talk about kids. As coaches, we can be great, but when kids really lock in and listen, and really, stick toward the game plan and listen, it's amazing what they can accomplish because they're the ones that have to do it.
Krista Luciano bounced back from a career high scoring performance against Concordia with another good game, 9 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. What has her progression been like so far this season?
It's been fun watching her. You can write on one side of the hand everything that you think that you could do against Crystal if you were going against her, or what her weaknesses might be. But the positive is her strengths just outweigh her weakness. That's going to be fun. It's going to be fun come conference time where people really don't really give her enough respect. It's going to be fun seeing her tear people apart because she's heady, she's smart, she understands the game, she sees the floor, she knows how to get the ball to people, and she does a lot of things you can't teach.
Last night against St. Joseph's, she falls 73-60, the reigning A-10 champs. They're now 9-1 on the season. A very, very good team that you fell to last night.
Yeah.
Taking through the game, how did your team fare?
We knew it was tough. We were ready. I thought we had a good mix of being focused and being loose. I thought it was a good environment. It's a good shooting rims at that place, and obviously we didn't shoot the ball very well. I think but with that being said, we started off the game. We had a lot of enforced errors, just some things that weren't quite as flowing, missed opportunities. Mm-hmm. But then we were still staying within striking range. It was just disappointing that we didn't come out and execute in the second half, and we allowed that blow to affect us. And I thought the folks that were playing on the floor, that were fighting back the whole rest of the second half, really showed what we're capable of doing because they didn't show any negativity. They were just forgetting about what the score was and just trying to chomp the bit and try to take the lead down. People like Sid Epps that were out there rebounding. Deion Thomas-Palmer was out there trying to give everything she can. Alo, I thought Asia Jackson had one of her better games than Andrea, and I thought she had a really good heady floor game. So it was like those folks and Alexis Carter guarding and doing the things that she does well. People understanding their roles and just trying to do the best in their roles and not trying to overdo. I think where we got in trouble is some folks trying to just do too much when you just let the game come to you and take a deep breath. So thought we'd give them a better fight, more than 25 minutes. And so that was probably the only thing I was disappointed about, that we just didn't fight, and kind of keep it within striking range most of the second half.
Why was St. Joe's able to take Monmouth and Annie Payton out of the game offensively? I believe they combined 3 of 15 from the field. What did they do defensively against those teams?
I think on AO, I don't think it was really much. Nobody really could guard her. They had to decide they were going to put Cloud, and they put Cloud on Annie Payton, which gave AO a lot of working room there. It's just confidence. I just felt like we were just a little bit unsure how they were playing us, and we're a little bit of unsure. But they put their best defender on Annie to try to really stop her penetration because Annie's been doing that so well. But then we just didn't stick to the game plan. Absolutely no doubt. When they play the way they play their defense, it makes it really inviting where you want to attack the middle and that little form of a pack line. And we didn't stick to the game plan. And I think that's probably the hardest thing that, they've been doing such a good job of sticking to it, listening to you, and trying to follow suit. Just kind of doing what you want to do a little bit and not really doing how to attack the defense appropriately really ran us into some problems.
We talked about Erin Shields earlier this week. She goes 4 of 7 from 3. Defended the three-point jump shot so well against UC Davis Saturday. Really didn't happen last night. Yeah. Why were they able to get good looks?
Well, she's tough to guard. Here's Andrea, one of my best defenders. She's tough to guard because she not only can she shoot the three, she is extremely quick. She's deceptive how she was getting layups. She was scoring off of slips. So you're really working so hard to try to keep her to go on the arc, and then she's coming off of slips. A couple substitutions, she banged a few threes and in the start of the second half. So actually on Andriana, she didn't make that many as a team, obviously. She got us when we weren't looking, or we had a quick, younger person coming in, not taking the seriousness of how deep her range is. But you can't just guard her for the arc. She's explosive, again, she's somebody you could say on film, she's small, she's this, that, you see her in person, but she's dynamic and probably the most improved kid I've seen, within that program next to Cloud, but she definitely has made herself a name.
Finally, Coach, another decent layoff here, obviously. Finals next week until you take on Harvard a week from Saturday. How do you approach this next week and a half with this team before you're next out there?
Yeah, Harvard's going to be another huge test, and if you really want to right the wrong, we need to give them a couple days here to get going for their finals. We'll have a couple days on and then a couple days off for their finals again. But we just really need to dial in. I think it is harder and harder with this generation to get them to focus, even past 2 hours. Coach I used to always say that back in my day, but we would go 4 and go over 4. But everyone always says, 2.5 hours. But, just getting them to really, really focus is just such a constant battle. And then in the height of a game where it's loud and people can't hear, you're trying to make adjustments. And so I think that's kind of been my main point of doing those little things, keeping our composure, controlling what you can control. So those are the things that we're going into this week and we're going to hit again, because you can't control every aspect that's happening in the game, but you can control, what you're supposed to be doing, whether it's boxing out, whether it's defensively, things you're controlling, and keeping your composure throughout. So I think kind of going back to those serious messages and then really instilling that throughout practice, because to me it's always on the practice floor. So, we've got a good group. It's one game against an 11 RPI, St. Joe's. These are the types of games that are going to really help us in conference. If we learn like we're supposed to learn as we move forward, these are the games that help you beat the JMUs, help you beat the the Drexels and everybody else in our conference. So very excited about what's to come.
The Hofstra Pride women's basketball team now 4-4 on the young season. They'll next be in action a week from Saturday on the road against Harvard. For head coach Krista Kilburn-Steveskey, I'm Mike Sullivan. Thanks for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report.